But let's celebrate the fact that Roman Reigns, as of right now, is a 500 plus day Universal Champ for well over a year and a half now. Congrats to Roman Reigns. I gotta say, the WWE waited a very long time to have Roman Reigns as over as he is. And this turn and this reign has been pretty good for him and the bloodline and Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. But for everybody else, it's been very mixed results in terms of where do you go once Roman Reigns goes through you. And it's been very mixed results. But as a run and as a character and performer, this is the best version of Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the provider of SmackDown in more ways than one. So, Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the 500 plus day reign of Roman Reigns' reign as Universal Champ?
I would like to give the WWE a round of applause for finally vanquishing all of the people that they no longer wanted to recognize as the longest reigning champions in their history. They did it, guys. They did it. I'm so happy for them. I'm also happy for Roman Reigns. A 500-day reign is no small feat, and he has conquered at least 6 people 3 times over that course of 500 days in order to solidify that very dominant reign. In all seriousness, it is pretty cool. They've been trying to get Roman Reigns to be this level of star for years, and they finally did it. And it took probably 5 years longer than they wanted to, but they reached their destination. He is the guy that is the gatekeeper to make any other guy in the company. 500 days is a great way to signify that he is the guy. Everything about Roman Reigns, I love the presentation. I love the person. I love the performer. He's the right guy for this honor.
Absolutely. This dude has got so much swagger right now, and he's going to fuck around and be a baby face very, very soon, if not a quasi face already. The ones throw up the ones, they acknowledge him now. He's just cool, and that's what makes him over as a baby face in the fans' eyes, mostly because he just exudes this coolness that wasn't there 5 or 6 years ago. He had it, but WWE suppressed it for so long, and I got to give him a lot of credit. He came back after taking that break because of the pandemic, and he just reinvented himself in terms of presentation, character, work rate. The Thunderdome stuff was amazing. The shit talking on SmackDown and at these pay-per-views when nobody was there was incredible to really engage you in these matches. I think it comes a little bit overwrought in a live setting with people these days via his last couple of pay-per-view matches. But in general, he's been a great champ. But ultimately, somebody's got to be made from this. We don't know who yet, but for what he's been able to do to get the Usos hot, to get Paul Heyman over as a manager once again, and Brock Lesnar living his best life with all the zeros and a bank account. Like, good for you, Roman Reigns, for elevating your crew and Brock and Paul to this new level of excellence in WWE. So, Scott, what are your thoughts on Roman's reign as a Universal Champion for 500 plus days as we record this show?
I think it's been excellent. I thought the video package was excellent. I thought it did a really good job of recapping who he's gone through and kind of, you know, showing each person, each challenge, each hurdle, and each one kind of built upon the other, making it a greater challenge, showing how each one was a greater challenge than the one before. You know, it kind of wrapped up with Cena and Brock as his biggest two. And I just, you know, WWE, one thing they always do a great job of is video packages. So this one was top notch. This run of Roman has been just strong, man. And I know there's some people that find it boring. I find him rather engaging because there's this element of, if he does lose, he's making somebody. You know, he is creating a new star. Whoever he loses to, hopefully WWE is smart enough to realize that you're going to create a new star. So it needs to be somebody who's not at the main event level. Because once they get this victory over Roman, because that's the key, is who's going to beat Roman, then you got a star. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think Roman should lose anytime soon. I think this should go past 600 days. I mean, there's nobody ready. Braun Breaker's not ready yet, and he might be the only guy who's, you know, who could use that and really springboard from a win like that, who's not already there. You know, there's talk about like Drew. I think Rollins would have been a nice WrestleMania opponent, but that's not a guy who needs that victory. Braun Breaker's that guy. Like that's a young guy you build to. I think Roman can hold this title another year until Braun gets it. This has been one of those title reigns that we're going to talk about 10 years from now and look back and say this was a strong reign. And I hope it goes to at least 600 days. I think it could go until next year's WrestleMania.
I'll go as far as to say, let's go, formerly known as Walter. Let's go maybe 800 days as champion. I'll go that far and say, let's give him another year as champ, because as you mentioned, the ultimate goal is to make somebody new. You have to anoint not a current main eventer, but somebody fresh off the block that can give Roman a run for his money, and Braun Breaker possibly at next year's WrestleMania in LA, unless they can't get The Rock, who is booked constantly. But it's got to be somebody that you're going to make for the next 5 to 10 years. And Braun is probably the only one that fits that bill. And I don't want them to rush it this year. Wait until next year. Roman can mow through the entire roster of WWE if you build more people up between now and then. But his reign has been exceptional. But the end goal is you must build someone fresh. Just hoping that WWE has that in mind heading into the rest of this year.